Greetings, Mr. President Donald Trump. Congratulations on winning. Although Anonymous is independent from party constraints, credit is given where credit is due. You have accomplished more in 10 days for the good of America than has been accomplished since President John Kennedy. If you continue at this rate, you have the opportunity to be equated with President Abraham Lincoln. For us, your sweeping victory was easily predicted before the election results were in. With the majority of both the House and Senate, you have the Electoral College out of the gate, and the popular vote was an easy prediction. There was no funny business relevant in this election. Other times we have seen the Electoral College used to forward an unknown agenda. This, however, was a blowout. In 2008, the Democrats stole the House, Senate, and presidency for years while inundating the American population with propaganda and underhanded tactics. They continued Bush's failed policy, only executed ever more poorly. Today, everyday people are quickly realizing the statistics they think are real and the actual statistics differ quite drastically. They have been on the Kool-Aid for centuries. The American heartland and the American way are still the true fiber that intertwines this country. We are the majority. We will never be broken. Furthermore, we have not had a real president or presidential candidate in decades. McCain was a throwaway candidate who didn't have a chance. Nothing would have changed. Moreover, it is near impossible to swing that election vote because we generally give the president the chance for 8 years. Many of our politicians were the same politicians since the 60s, that is, up until the 2012 elections Tea Party revolution that further demonstrated the frustration of American voters. We gave Obama his chance. The Senate only held a 14% approval. More freshman senators were elected in 2012 than ever before in history. The tides of turning the dinosaur government had begun. Before that, in 2008, we tried a different party in control of the government. They were supposed to be the complete opposite of Bush. Yet, they did nothing Congress couldn't have done if Bush had still been elected. We, the people, are not going to let a single well-argued fact fall by the wayside from now until the end of time. Only now is this finally getting started. For Anonymous, you have abandoned the Trans-Pacific Partnership and you have spoken at length about the poor deal in the North Atlantic, supposed free trade agreement. A deal that is horribly lopsided and encourages illegal money transfers from US to Mexico. The US takes out of the money it is supposed to give to them, and the deal falls flat. Meanwhile, past American phony presidents have long worked to disrupt stability in Mexico and in South America from the top down with more than just these poor agreements. Today, if Mexico pays for the wall, they can employ their own citizens. This will improve the Mexican economy and Mexico can work to restabilize its country and take back the power from the enabled drug cartels, regaining Mexican pride. Hundreds of Mexican students are frequently outright murdered in Mexico City. Although I do not think the rest of the wall former President Bush started should be finished. If the Mexican economy could thrive and appreciate the value of pesos, if the peripheral constraints of its international trade agreements were reversed, then the desperate drive of Mexicans for entry into America would diminish. Yet we are suspicious the border has been used as an entryway for more than just Mexicans. So has the Canadian border. In 2013, Anonymous predicted FEMA camps would be used as staging grounds for migrant entry and that our American government had in fact created the instability in the Middle East to fuel a refugee crisis. Moreover, the US and UN neglected action in Central Africa that has now created the fleeing of Christians into Europe. We see the same tactic used by the Palestinian Authority as a model on the international scale. Why not launch an investigation into the FEMA staging ground? Mr. President, you have put a stop on millions of dollars to the terrorist organization now known as the Palestinian Authority, but previously as the PLO, a UN-class terrorist group in bed with Hamas. We call on you to overturn the United Nations allowance for the armed overthrow of Israel under a failed policy known as the right of return. This policy produces gang actions in the Middle East and is greater than 50 years old. It is outdated and the Palestinian Authority has lost the war. Either let Israel defend itself the way it needs to, or overturn the right of return policy, as their only right to return is in the capacity of non-aggressive Israeli assimilation into their democracy. They can join in the vibrant democracy in Israel. And why not grant Edward Snowden immunity, deal him fairly and the issues he's risen? Soon Americans will say, we live in a post-Trump world, but until then the phrase in vogue is a post-Snowden world. Why not maintain Guantanamo Bay as a military base as it's been for decades, but use the strong hand of the true American justice system to deal with criminals justly, close the prison, or treat it as American sovereign soil as it should be and no longer proceed with torture? Strengthen intelligence. President Hussein changed a document that has not been altered in any capacity since 1790, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That one speaks for itself. Give special grants for business startups to military veterans, giving back to our citizens, instead of giving large sums to educated immigrants through such policies as feed dry. President Trump, I call on you to rightly address the issue of green rights, ending the stupidity once and for all. There is no constitutional amendment. Moreover, legal and illegal markets create deadweight loss in black markets and does nothing but create more crime in its current capacity. A nonchalant approach to the green subject will disintegrate stupidity completely. Together, united under the Constitution, tell everyone the truth and release all of these non-violent criminals from our prison state. Free up our choking court systems and dismiss these illegitimate magistrate paper pushers. Less people in jail means lower cost. Through economic mechanisms, long-term employment will emerge, especially after quantitative easing and the decrease in the price of gas. If everyone takes a chill pill and regains their right minds, as in blacks, whites and Mexicans need to unite and look at each other as family, then America will go into the most opulent time in history. We, Anonymous, know, because of President Roosevelt and President Kennedy, they told us about the New World Order, an organization behind the scenes implementing a secret plan other than the honest American way. We saw it in the Bushes and in the restructured International Monetary Fund. We see it in the lack of court cases with no bodies, just tales of the deaths of the most violent criminals in the world, and we are supposed to take their word for it. We are not seeing justice. We want these people tried publicly on TV in the international court systems we have built. We want to know why these people would do what they are doing. We are sick of this conspiracy. A Russian hacker used a tablet to open Hillary's emails that should be admissible enough to condemn her. If a camera on the street filming nothing until maybe it catches a snip of something is enough to condemn someone in this country, her real files should as well. We are not as disillusioned as she is. We know what happened in Benghazi, and we know what is happening now in Syria. Mr. President, so far you have managed to piss off many we hate. Thus, the enemy of our enemy is our friend. At minimum, you are not faking. Even when people do what we want, they can fake it. For now, we will trust you, and with that, some of us will fight against our enemies, which are your enemies. But if this is all true, you fit the quintessential president philosophy. Someone independently wealthy, who is only doing the task when the job is absolutely most necessary to be done correctly because you can, and maybe no one else has the ability. You took a substantial pay cut to $250,000, and you have given up businesses due to your confidence you will recover losses post-presidency, which is the right attitude. If you choose, you could ground Air Force One and write a check to the public for the savings, taking your own jets. So maybe you will do what the American population and the world needs. After all, you are an economist. There are more than a few people we want allowed back into the United States or released from prison. Lyndon LaRouche, he may be a bit dated, but anyone the New World Order tries to kill is good in our book. We would like to see you adopt Karen Hughes as well. Moreover, we couldn't be more thrilled you fired the acting attorney general. Both she and Eric Holder failed to prosecute the cell phone and landline providers for violating net neutrality in an open-shut antitrust litigation lawsuit championed by New York City. Subsidiaries of companies like Cricket and a plethora of others were created overnight. They are trading the parent company's coupons to inflate upper-end service. This is an out-of-control unregulated industry currently raping the American people. Right now, I supposedly owe $220 for 2 months of DSL. I have an outstanding $1,400 bill for exceeding a data cap I was told didn't exist in just 1 month. People I know are receiving letters in the mail that they will be punished if they don't lower their bandwidth and are extorted by these bully companies. At least gangs wouldn't come into your house, but these providers come in and out whenever they want. We would like to see a comprehensive plan to develop fiber optic cables on a national scale, similar to the formation of the American Telegraph and Telegram Company. In the coming weeks you will receive detailed information on the deadweight loss in this market. This is America. More is always better. For now, know this: we are watching, we are judging, we will call you out on your errors. If they are too atrocious, we will withdraw our trust, but if you continue to do what needs to be done, if you continue to do the right thing, we will address your aggressors. Remember, the threat of arrest is a grosser wrong than the outright explicit statement of prosecution. No funny business. As it is today, the DEA can fall on anyone in the nation they choose. Don't let this vacuum go unresolved. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.